NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox is brought to you by Nextel. Coast-to-coast walkie-talkies in under a second. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed. By the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. By Diet Pepsi, it's the Diet Cola. And by WebMD, redefining modern medicine.
Welcome back to Darlington, and log on to foxsports.com or visit visa.com to find out how you can win Visa's ultimate NASCAR experience at the Michigan 400 in June with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers at the Hollywood Hotel. Nice to have you with us on Fox. They've been racing for just about an hour. Michael Waltrip on lap 9 into the wall after a cut left rear tire. Crashed in practice and in qualifying, and a face of frustration, but he is back in this race. And then Andy Hillenberg with getting in the way of Tony Stewart, and then Jeff Gordon smacks into him. Hillenberg apologizing later, saying he hates to see Gordon out of the race. Gordon said he hadn't felt a hit like that in quite some time. And pit stops here helping to make a difference in the lead change. Kurt Busch taking the lead. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on lap 67 taking the lead. Then Kurt Busch taking the lead back, and Kurt Busch, Jeff Hammond, the guy who was runner-up by 100th of a second, if we can call it that, in last year's exciting race with Ricky Craven. And Kurt, your leader there.
Well, I think Kurt really believes right now that this racetrack kind of owes him one. And you got to think about it like this also, Chris. This racetrack has been very good to Roush Racing. Both Mark Martin and Jeff Burton have been winners here in the past, so I would not be surprised to see Kurt Busch get the victory lane today.
In Saturday's Busch race, it was Roush cars 1 and 2. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Hot on his heels. You see Ryan Newman passing Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the second spot, and Casey Kane running forward.
Well, again, it looked like these guys here, it was kind of like give and take a little bit. You race the racetrack here at Darlington. A lot of times it's easier to let a guy go and kind of conserve yourself. Later on, you get back to him and be able to get back by him. So they're just using really good, smart racing right now here at Darlington.
As we get a view from Junior's 8 car, this has been a Visa race break. Let's rejoin Larry, Darrell, and Mike.
Among the front 5, score 1 for youth and enthusiasm. The oldest of the front 5, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 3rd place, age 29. You got to go back to 6th place Tony Stewart to find a driver in his 30s, and 10th place Ward Burton for a driver in his 40s. 23-year-old Casey Kane puts the move on Jr. and goes to 3rd.
Looks like the Meat DW's young guns are dominating this thing as we're almost a third of the way. But I want to go back and want to update right now our 13th place car, Greg Biffle, in the 16. Remember, back on lap 9, he was the only lead lap car that elected to stay out, and he worked his way back to about 19th before he was finally able to get 4 tires on it. But I've been watching his lap times. He has a very quick race car, but his teammate Matt Kenseth, who qualified back in 15th, he's just been quietly hanging there, Steve, not making a lot of noise, but just being solid.
Larry, I talked to his crew chief, Robbie Reiser, this morning, and he said that they were loose off of turn 4 all weekend. That was a concern, and that has stayed consistent. They're a little tight getting into the corners. Maybe a minor problem that could get worse later. Matt's radio piece is loose, and when he keys the mic, it is extremely difficult for the team to hear what Matt is saying.
Thanks, Steve. There are the Roush cars and where they are positioned, with Kurt Busch leading. How about last year's winner, Ricky Craven, who started this race toward the back of the field? How's he fared today, Dick Berggren?
Oh, not very well, Mike Joy. He is running well back in the pack in 32nd spot right now, and he too had radio problems early in this event. He just called into his crew and said the car is out of balance. Somebody passes him and he just slides through the turn. He has also complained about the car understeering, pushing. So Craven from the state of Maine, but a tough day today.
34 cars on the lead lap, and Darrell, let's not count out the veterans. Here's a pack of them in hot contention.
Well, I've been watching particularly Terry Labonte in the 5 car, and Rusty seems like he's got a little problem right now, but Terry has been sitting back there in a little zone all his own. He may not have the car to win the race, but he's driving this race the way a veteran would drive it. This is the closest I've seen him to anybody since we started the race. He's got Ricky Rudd in front of him and Rusty Wallace behind him, 21 and 2. I think he feels pretty comfortable running with those guys, knowing they're not going to do anything dumb, make a Darlington mistake like a lot of guys do.
Labonte, defending champion of the fall race here. the Southern 500.
But, Darrell, they cannot fool around long, because right now this race has that green flag look about it, and they're only 10 seconds in front of our leader right now, Kurt Busch, and he's running quite a bit quicker than those guys.
But when the leader starts to catch up with traffic, Larry, I mean, it slows them down so much. I mean, you can lose a couple of seconds a lap here dealing with a slow car or a lap car, because you just lose your momentum. Single groove racetrack, hard to pass.
Andy Belmont has joined Morgan Shepherd in the garage area, along with Kurt Shelmerdine, Todd Bodine, Jeff Gordon, Andy Hillenberg, and Joe Ruttman. Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip running many laps down. Waltrip after that crash at lap 9, and Kyle Petty having problems with the rear end, which they replaced in the garage. Everybody else on the lead lap. Kurt Busch 1.4 seconds up on Ryan Newman. There's rookie Brendan Gaughan behind Busch, who has just become the first car 1 lap down.
There's one thing you know about Darlington. If you test it often enough, you'll probably flunk the test more than you pass it. So driving on the edge here, you cannot do that lap after lap and expect to survive.
Busch the leader, Newman second, Casey Kane, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is fourth. Matt?
Dale Jr. still hovering in the top 5 on that last stop back on lap 56. Jr. said the car was snug on entry and in center. Not too bad an exit, just a little bit free in the center down in 3 and 4. They made a chassis adjustment and pulled the spring rubber, but what they did, they rotated the loose condition from the center now to entry. Jr. says the car is just too loose when he tries to make his arc into the corner, currently in the 4th position.
A little telemetry on Dale Jr. You see the speed and the gap to the race leader.
And you hear how he's feathering that thing.
Larry, what about the driver who swept both ends of the Winston Cup season here in 1999?
Yeah, I mean, he qualified back in 33rd, Jeff Burton in the 99. He's worked his way back up to 17th. Remember, he had that front end damage. His crew worked on it and put him near the rear of the field. But I think Jeff Burton, who ran second in yesterday's Busch race, Darrell, it's a typical Jeff Burton run. He likes those long green runs. His car don't give up as much as the others.
Yeah, he's got a new crew chief, and looks like, they might take them a race or two to get their communication worked out. But by the same token, he's coming to a place where he can give good feedback, which is going to make the crew chief's job a lot easier.
Yeah, Paul Andrews was released this week as a crew chief, and Roush went a different direction with this car. He put his chief engineer, Bob
Absolutely
Osborne.
no pressure from behind. Just race the racetrack. Keep doing what you're doing.
That's his spotter telling him no pressure from behind. In other words, don't worry about what's behind you, because right now no one is behind you. But Bob Osborne has been named the crew chief and has been with Roush since 1999, the chief engineer.
And again, you get in that zone. The veterans get in the zone. They're by themselves, nobody in front, nobody behind, and you just kind of run your own race.
Boy, this kid's been in the zone, like the end zone. Second, third. The last 3 races for Casey Kane. Matt?
And Casey Kane continues to show about 1/10 to 2/10 faster a lap than leader, the 97 car, Kurt Busch. Over the past 2 runs, Casey says the car is just way too free, way loose on that right rear tire. Tommy Baldwin didn't make a chassis adjustment on the last stop, but what he did, he went to a different set of tires that had a stagger very close to the set of tires that Casey had on his second run. 3-4 laps ago, Tommy keyed the mic and said, Casey, why don't you dial a little front brake into it and see if that helps? Now, how is Casey King going to do that? Let's go to Jeff Hammond for more.
What Casey Kane is going to try to do with those instructions from his crew chief, he's going to actually take a knob that's mounted on the dash, and he's going to adjust these brakes here. This is what you call a dual master cylinder, and what it is, this is the front, this is the rear. What he will do is turn that knob and change the pressure from the front and the rear balance. That's what he's looking to do, is to make more front brake grip, so when he goes down in the corner, the car will actually stop more on the front brake than it will in the rear. What you're doing is just changing the braking percentage from the front to the rear. Darrell?
Yeah, one of the things that this place really rewards is good physical conditioning, because you got to stay sharp here all day long, and good, quick hand-eye coordination, because you're going to get a little loose every now and then. The car's going to jump around unexpectedly. That's why the kids, the young guys like him, can really get the job done here.
And just to put a period of what Matt was talking about on stagger, what that is, that's the difference in size between the left side tires and right side tires. It don't really change that much with radial tires, but they have about about an inch difference, that makes the car turn around the corner. And we've seen with this tire configuration where an eighth of an inch difference can make a difference in that car being tighter or looser.
And again, Larry, people that are back in the pack right now that I think are running their own race, racing the racetrack like we are over and over again, is that guy right there. He knows how to win here. He's not worried right now. Got a good race car. Keep adjusting on it. Be there at the end.
Arnold Palmer was Grand Marshal last week. Did you know that Dale's middle name is Arnold?
I had no idea.
Named
after Arnold Palmer.
How about that?
How about that?
Kurt Busch at 98 laps. Up on Ryan Newman now by 1.5 seconds.